What's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is having a good morning so far. This is the State of the Saints podcast where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about week 17. We're going to go ahead and put week 17 in the books, and we're going to give our final thoughts. And we're also going to get you prepared for the playoffs. Now, we're not going to be talking so much about the playoffs right now. We are going to kind of just get into it just a tad bit. All right. And then we're going to get you geared up throughout the week. And we're going to do something a little bit different here on the State of the Saints podcast this week. Not only will you hear about the New Orleans Saints, but we'll be talking about the other teams, the other games as well. And I feel like that's only right, especially since we're talking about the postseason and the regular season is in the books. But nevertheless, thank you so much for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast, waking up with your boy. And right now, I'm just going to give my final thoughts about week 17, and then I'll answer some of your questions that you may have. First off, in week 17, the Saints did what they needed to do in week 17 against the Carolina Panthers. They beat them 33-7. And no, I'm not trying to throw salt into the wounds of the Carolina Panthers fan base. That's not what I'm here for. Unlike some of the other fan bases around the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers fan base is a little bit more tolerable than some of the other teams in the NFC South. So I'm not going to throw salt in the wounds. I mean, it's pretty clear that the Saints were just leaps and bounds better than the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are still trying to figure it out. And it seems like right now the Saints are clicking on all cylinders. And this is what you're supposed to do. I mean, when you're superior to another team, you're supposed to beat them. And you're supposed to beat them decisively, especially going into the postseason where you're supposed to be playing your best football. I hate to say it, Who That Nation. Am I impressed by the win? Yes. When it comes to them putting some of these newer guys out there, guys coming off the practice squad, coming in, guys filling in for other guys, yes, I am impressed. But I hate to say it, but I've seen this movie before. If I can go ahead and rewind back to week 17 of 2019, the Saints beat the Carolina Panthers by a score of 42-10. We were all excited going into the postseason as Saints fans, and the Saints went up against the Minnesota Vikings. So for those that are saying, like, you know, did this game prove that the Saints are ready for the postseason? I would have to say no, because I've seen this before. But I am happy that the Saints got the job done. And it's almost kind of eerie the way that the stat line lined up, right? If you look at 2019, I think Drew Brees was 19 of 30, and he had like 200 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. If you look at the game on Sunday, he was like 20 of 32, and he had 3 touchdowns in that game, and he had 200 yards. Ty Montgomery had 18 carries. I think Latavius Murray had 17. It's extremely eerie. But the good thing about all of this is the Saints are going to have some guys coming back. Okay, Michael Thomas is going to be in the game. You are probably also going to have Deontay Harris. You're going to have Patrick Robinson. So you're going to have guys coming back to the team that are going to be very, very important. Alvin Kamara, there's a strong possibility that he's going to play. You know that Latavius Murray, Dwayne Washington, Mike Burton, all those guys are going to be back for the game. So that's really key. So I'm very happy about that. Unlike last year, you had Michael Thomas, who had a magical season. He had 149 receptions. But I think at the end, towards the end of the season, he actually broke his hand. So right now, Michael Thomas has missed a substantial amount of games. So right now, he should be almost close to 100%. And should be ready to rock and roll. And I think the chemistry between he and Drew Brees, I think that's always going to be there. I don't think that there's something that's just going to fall off. And I like the fact that, Emmanuel Sanders and Drew Brees seem like they're on the same page. And also Marquez Callaway, man, a guy that that can step up, a guy that can possibly be a number 2 receiver down the line, but he is a above average number 3 receiver. I think you can say that right now. Adam Troutman, a guy that started off a little bit rough, has been emerging. And as you can see, we've been seeing more Adam Troutman and a little bit less of Josh Hill. And also we have Jared Cook, right? Jared Cook is a guy, I can't say one thing about Jared Cook. He gonna score some touchdowns. Okay, he's gonna score some touchdowns. He may not, catch a whole bunch of passes or anything like that. But when you need a play down in the red zone, you can count on Jared Cook to come down with the football. So what have I learned from this game, Week 17? I just learned that the New Orleans Saints are geared up for another postseason run. But I don't put too much stock into them winning this game over the Carolina Panthers because once again, I've seen this before. So I'm going to go ahead right now, open up the floor to you all, answer some of your questions, and also read some of your comments. And once again, thank you all for being a part of the State of the Saints podcast this morning. We're going to start with Texas Saint. Says, what up, TJ? I'm really liking Marquez Callaway, looking like a solid receiver. Yeah, and the thing about it is, Texas, is he gets better every single time you see him on the field. And, the thing about it is, when guys start to get more reps, more opportunities, you see two things, right? Rather you see a decline, or or you see a guy emerging in confidence. Like you look at Marquez Callaway, like you see him like pregame, he's celebrating and coming up with this little funny dance with Drew Brees. You can tell Drew Brees really likes the kid. Emmanuel Sanders rants and raves about him, talks about how he just loves him and how smart he is and how he wants to learn. So that's all you want to hear from a young receiver is him learning and trying to become a better version of himself. So Marquez Callaway, I'm really excited about him. As long as he stays healthy, I think the sky's the limit for him. I like the way that he plays the game, and he's a smart football player. So hopefully we can get some production out of him in the postseason. Jack CP3 says, I do believe the media feels the same way you do, TJ. They believe the Saints will flop in the playoffs, which is why they never talk about us. Well, let me just make this clear, Jack. I'm not saying that the Saints are going to flop in the playoffs. I don't want to say that. I'm not saying that the Saints going to flop in the playoffs, but I do believe that the reason why they don't just completely invest in the Saints is because they feel like the Saints are going to fail. You know what I'm saying? That part I do believe. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's almost like something is good, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like ice cream, right? Ice cream is good, but you know what I'm saying, too much ice cream gonna make you fat. Like it's something like that, right? You know that the Saints are good, but you don't want to invest wholeheartedly into them because there's a strong possibility that something might happen and you might end up looking bad. And we all know that the media, they want to hang their hat on always being right. They want to be the credible source that you go to. They want to be the go-to prognosticator. That's what they do, man. So they try to hang their hat on a sure thing, a thing that they can always count on. That's why they always leaning on people like Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. They always can count on those guys to give you stellar quarterback play, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not so much believing that the Saints are going to flop, but I do feel like the media feels that way, and that's the reason why the Saints don't really get that much attention because they're like, yeah, but when it comes to the postseason, they're gonna do what they always do. That's the way it looks. And you would think that the New Orleans Saints like just lose every playoff game or something like that. Like they don't lose playoff games all the time. Like you have to go back. I want to say maybe 2000. I want to say 2009. Not 2009. Maybe like 2010 or something like that when they actually was a one and done. I think they lost to the Seahawks if I'm not mistaken. But besides that, the Saints win games in the playoffs. They beat the Philadelphia Eagles to play an NFC Championship game, right? They beat the Carolina Panthers to play Minnesota. So it's not like the Saints can't win in the playoffs, right? But that's the narrative that they're trying to carry out, which I don't understand. I really don't. I don't get that. Jerry says, morning, who that's what's going on, Jerry? Fat Boy 27 saying, who that nation? King Arthur says, TJ was happening, homie. I really hope we don't come out flat and end up down 17-3. Though we have a great offense, I hate when we play from behind, throw our game plan off. Yeah, that's true. The Saints play better when they start fast, and that's one of the reasons why I'm glad for the last couple of weeks they've been starting fast. Game versus the Minnesota Vikings, they came out, they scored right on the first drive. Same thing with the Carolina Panthers. So I would expect for them to do the same thing against the Chicago Bears. Look, I mean, this week, I'm going to be honest with you, Who That Nation. Everything that you're hearing, I really don't know what the media is saying right now. And I don't want to hear it, because what I'm hearing right now is something that I don't want to be a prisoner of. And I'm a little bit superstitious when it comes to the team. I'm hearing a whole bunch of people talking about how the Chicago Bears don't have a chance. Nah, bro, I ain't got no time for that, man. I don't even want to put that into my mind, because I feel like if you put that into the back of your subconscious, then you like, oh man, we about to win. Like, nah, bro. I ain't trying to listen to none of that sure thing stuff. There's nothing in this life that's a sure thing. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing in this life that's just a sure thing. You know, like, so I ain't even trying to buy that. I ain't really listening to what they talking about. So a lot of the stuff that y'all gonna hear is gonna be me, and most of the stuff that is probably going to be delivered by you all when it comes to the media, man. Because I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing about how the Saints just going to dominate this game. Look, Chicago is a very formidable opponent. 8-8 don't mean absolutely nothing. We seen the Saints lose to a 7-9 Seattle Seahawks team in the past. Not that I'm saying that the Saints don't have a strong possibility of winning. I really do. But I am not going to sit up here and just be like, oh, man, we just going to blow them out. I don't feel that way. Kim says, I'm confident in this team. We are not even fully healthy. People seem to forget this. Man, we got to stop living in the past, live in a moment. We can't keep saying what happened in the past, man. Just play ball for the moment. I hope this team can have a different outcome. Well, I'll put it like this, Kim. They say that people that tend to forget about their past is doomed to repeat it. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's hard to do. Like, it's hard to do, man. I can't do that. I can't do that in no aspect of my life. You know, if I did that, then y'all probably wouldn't be listening to me today. Y'all wouldn't be having a conversation with me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way that it is. Like, I have to remember my past. You know what I'm saying? It makes me a better person. If I didn't remember my past, probably wouldn't be married, probably wouldn't be as consistent when it comes to doing these podcasts. And that's just the way that I live my life. I have no choice but to think about some of the things that happened with the New Orleans Saints. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It has been heartbreaking being a Saints fan in the postseason over the last 3 years. And it's hard not to think about those things. But like you said, Kim, it's about being optimistic. And I am optimistic. I think the Saints will win this football game, but I'm not going to sit up here and just walk around my chest out like, man, we got this thing in the bag, because any team can beat any team on any given Sunday. Like, honestly, did you really believe that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to beat the Saints? Like, seriously. Like, I didn't. I mean, I went on a Philadelphia Eagles affiliate, to talk about that game. And I don't think it was one of the games I was so confident in. And the Saints ended up losing. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about those possibilities. Do I think the Saints are going to lose? No. But do I think that the Bears can beat the Saints? Yes, I do. Marquez runs routes so smooth to be a rookie, man, quite impressive for an undrafted rookie. And Mike, that goes to show you how deep this draft class was. I mean, this was a really good draft class for the wide receiver position. I mean, we seeing Chase Claypool out there in Pittsburgh. We're seeing Justin Jefferson out there in Minnesota. We're seeing Brandon Ayuk out there in San Francisco. So, I mean, this has been a really deep draft. I mean, and then you have a couple guys who I'm looking forward to seeing probably next year, like guys like Gandy Golden that's out there in Washington, and maybe Jalen Rager, you know what I'm saying, once he gets his injury situation straight, CeeDee Lamb out there in Dallas. I mean, so this was a deep draft. So it wasn't hard to believe that they were going to have some really good wide receivers that were going to be undrafted free agents. And I'm just glad that we got one of the best in Marquez Callaway, who I feel like the sky's the limit for this kid, no doubt. Ty Montgomery finally got a full body of work this season. Who that? Well, he's been dealing with injuries throughout the year. He'll get healthy and then he'll get nicked up again. So I think that had a lot to do with the fact that we haven't seen him. When he does play in the game, he does do one or two things really well. Like I think they had him on special teams a couple weeks ago, and he had like a really good game. And him catching the ball out of the backfield and catching the ball as a slot receiver. I mean, he does a really good job. He's a smart guy. I mean, he went to Stanford for God's sake. So you can't be no dummy going to Stanford unless you're a trust fund. Just watched last night, TJ, on the final play shows the last time the Saints had 5 interceptions was in 1991 against the Cardinals. Damn, I was 10, man. Time flies. Well, yeah, that's what you want to see, man. That's what you want to see, guys producing, and I talk about how deep this team is. The fact that you can go get guys off the practice squad like Grant Haley and Ken Crawley, and those guys can still do a little something out there. So it's always good to know that you got depth, because you never know where a guy can go down. And the Saints are really living by that next man up mentality, which I can really appreciate as a fan. This time the Saints won't take the Bears for granted. Well, I don't think the Saints took the Bears for granted the last time they played them. I just think they was kind of short-handed. I don't think Emmanuel Sanders played in that game. I don't think Michael Thomas played in that game. I mean, they were missing some weapons, man. I think the only person really was out there was Alvin Kamara. So, and then also you got to take into account, this is a different team. I'm talking about on both sides. Carson Wentz. Mitchell Trubisky wasn't the quarterback. It was Nick Foles. Nick Foles was the quarterback in this game. And, him and Matt Nagy was having some issues, about the offense. They really didn't have an identity. Allen Robinson was frustrated. They wasn't really using Devin Montgomery. Devin Montgomery has emerged. They've been using him in the running game. And he had a really good game against the Saints last time. I think he had about 83 or 87 yards against the Saints. And Chicago has really been using the running game to set up the play action. They've been putting Mitchell Trubisky under center, which they haven't been doing. They mostly had him in a shotgun formation. So it kind of helps out Mitchell Trubisky. And not to mention, Mitchell Trubisky can run. Like he's not afraid to run for those extra yards. So we got to be very, very careful. And the Saints tend to have issues when they go up against elite linebackers. And when you have people like Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan and Khalil Mack, guys that can actually run with running backs and tight ends, that's kind of tough. And we know that Drew Brees like to throw those short, intermediate passes. So when you're going up against some of those linebackers that can run right alongside those tight ends, it can be a little tough. And those guys can catch those passes, man. They can't catch interceptions. So the Saints got to be really, really careful. And then they got the monster in the middle, Akeem Hicks, a guy that hates the New Orleans Saints. And it goes back to the time when him and Sean Payton was beefing. And you know that he would love to knock the Saints out of the playoffs. I mean, that would be a notch in his belt. I mean, every time the Saints tend to lose in the playoffs, if you go to his Twitter page, he always celebrating and happy about that. So, I mean, what would make him feel any better to knock off the New Orleans Saints and send Drew Brees into retirement with a playoff loss? Okay, so there's a lot of things that was going on. And not to mention, I mean, we got to think about C.D. Deuce and Denzel Wims, whatever his name is, Wims or whatever, those two fighting, so there's a lot going on with these two teams, man. This is going to be a different ball game than what we seen last time. No doubt about that. Kentario, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says a healthy Saints team is a dangerous Saints team. That is true, but it's all about how they come out, how they come out there on the field, but I think the Saints will be ready this time. I don't think if they was to lose this game, it wouldn't be because of production and passion, because I don't think you can get more passionate than the New Orleans Saints, especially since the way that you've been knocked out the last couple of years. Jack says, so the narrative is that no one will beat the Packers because of the code, and how Aaron Rodgers is so much better than any quarterback in the code. Makes me sick to my stomach and the stupidest take ever. Yeah, man. I mean, they just trying to create this narrative about Lambeau Field, and they trying to bring back the mystique and nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, teams have beaten. I mean, I can think right off the top of my head. I can remember Colin Kaepernick going out there with the 49ers beating Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I can remember Eli Manning going out there when the Green Bay Packers were like, what, 15-1 at that time and knocking them out of the playoffs. So it's not like, oh, just Lambeau Field just so hard to play and nobody can play out there. Like, that's just the kind of stuff that they try to create these narratives, like you said, Jack. I mean, these people are trying to sell newspapers. These people are trying to get clicks for these websites. And what better way to do it to try to create a storyline? It ain't no different between, Vince McMahon coming up with something with WWE. I don't care what they say. These guys got to play each other. These teams got to match up against each other. And like I've been saying since the beginning of the show, any team can beat any other team on any given Sunday. Don't matter the record. Don't matter the circumstance. That's just a fact. Let's go to Myron. Myron says, facts, everyone talking about Rodgers like they want to have his baby. Yeah, I mean, but I don't want to, I don't want to poo-poo on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's had a spectacular season, and I just think that he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder all season long because of the draft pick Jordan Love. Okay, I mean, it's no secret that the Green Bay Packers drafted Jordan Love in the first round, and they drafted him to be the successor to Aaron Rodgers. So I just think that when he saw that kind of made him pick his game up because he was playing a tad bit stagnant over the past couple of years because I guess he just felt like, oh, I'm the franchise and what y'all gonna do, get rid of me? But when they drafted Jordan Love in the first round, that kind of opened his eyes, and you can tell in the way that he's playing right now, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, man. That's pretty dangerous, man. Aaron Rodgers is a really good quarterback. Kent Jackson said Smith may miss game for Bears. Got injured Sunday. What Smith? You talking about Roquan? Are you talking about Roquan Smith? Okay. I highly doubt if he gonna miss that game. It's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. I mean, this dude leg or arm or neck have to be hanging off. You know what I'm saying? For him to miss a game like that. I mean, they probably gonna shoot that guy up with something. He'll be out there. He might not be at 100%, but he'll be out there. Jack CB3, thank you very much for the $20, man. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, and thank you for your comments as well. Glenn says they say Roquan might not play. I believe it when I see it. Kevin says you saw when the Panthers strip sack Drew. He had grass in his helmet, but I like Drew Brees as a Carolina Panthers fan. Yeah, man. I mean, that made me a little nervous, Kevin. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I seen that, I was like, man, get him out the game, because that was my main concern. My main concern wasn't so much about them carrying the football, whoever they picked as a running back. It was pass protection. Any running back, they kind of struggle with pass protection when they're a new running back to a team or they're a young rookie running back. It takes some time for them to develop as a good pass protector. So that was my only issue. And Carolina, I mean, they was coming with the zero blitzes, you know what I'm saying? They were trying to get to Drew. So I was glad that the offensive line and the coaching staff made the adjustments and he was able to stay upright, because you don't want to see Drew Brees getting hit week 17, dealing with those cracked ribs. You need him to start healing and getting a little bit better as the weeks progress. I'm pretty sure he's probably a tad bit sore because, he took a few hits, but you don't want to get him, too banged up going into the playoffs. I mean, we're going to need him down the line. Our boys are going to come out fired up. Well, I hope so. I hope they do. I mean, if you're not going to get fired up, then what is going to motivate you? What is going to motivate you if you don't look back and just look at all the disappointments that you've had over the years? If that don't motivate you, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. For the most of the guys that are on this team remember all those heartbreaking moments. You know what I'm saying? I'll say maybe about 80% of this team. About 80% of this team remembers all those heartbreaking moments. Okay. I mean, especially like guys like the Lattimores, the Marcus Williams, the Patrick Robinsons, the Mike Thomas, the Drew Brees, the Alvin Kamara. Like, these guys remember these moments because they were there. So if this doesn't motivate you to try to get over the hump, to try to play as perfect as you possibly can, close to perfect as you possibly can, I don't know what will. we as a fan base, we don't need nobody half stepping out there. And as the Saints as a team, they definitely don't need nobody out there half stepping. Like I said on Sunday, and it made a lot of people upset, but it's the truth, man. I mean, this is it. This is it, man. Like, this is Drew Brees' last hurrah. I mean, like I said, those stories that are coming out, to me, they're factual. You know, this is Drew Brees' last opportunity, man. And I'm not saying that the Saints won't make the playoffs after Drew Brees is gone. I still think this team is good enough, and I still think they have a culture that will be able to have those type of leaders that can push those younger guys, you know, and be able to make that playoff run. But when it comes to like number 9 being on the field, this is the last opportunity, man. And you want him to go out in a blaze of glory. You know, like, you don't want to be the reason why, you know, your Hall of Fame star quarterback, you know, has asterisk by his name, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to, you know, him being a all-time great, because he can't get it done in the playoffs. Like, do your part. And also, you want to be remembered, right? Like, we think about these guys, man. Like, think about that Super Bowl team. You can still remember the guys that were on that team, right? I mean, that will bind you together. I mean, teams change every single year. There are going to be 4 or 5 different guys, you know what I'm saying, that are going to be replaced and, you know what I'm saying, are going to be replaced by somebody else on this team. But what binds you together is that Super Bowl run, right? You remember, like, you know, the Anthony Hargroves, right? You remember those guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, you remember some of those guys, Jonathan Casillas and guys like that, you know, guys that probably weren't household names, but you remember these guys because they were part of that Super Bowl run. You know, you can remember Usama Young. You can remember guys like that. So you don't want to be that guy who, you know, left a little bit on the field and have those regrets. You know, I'm pretty sure Dan Arnold's having a good, successful, you know, career going on in Arizona right now. But I guarantee you can remember that third down that he dropped that pass in the NFC Championship game. You know, I know he does. And that was going to carry along with him throughout his entire career until he make good on it somehow, you know? So you don't want to be that guy. And I don't want them to be that guy. We got to get past the Bears before we worry about Green Bay. I agree. One game at a time. But I think the Saints approach that. And I have to say, they're doing an outstanding job this season. You know, when people start talking about the 24-hour rule, I used to think that was, you know, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, like, yeah, whatever, man. You know, y'all celebrating after 24 hours. But I really feel like they are, you know, they are channeling that 24-hour rule. I really do. What do you think of the Steelers? Nicholas, what do I think of the Steelers? I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they have a really good defense. I know they got the record right now for most consecutive games with a sack, which is pretty impressive, man, when you think about it. I mean, when you got like 70-some games and every game you done got a sack, like that's pretty doggone good. But that's so Pittsburgh Steelers. But the only thing that concerns me about the Steelers is, number one, Big Ben Roethlisberger is hurt. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I seen a game in which he got hurt. It was the game versus the Dallas Cowboys. I think that he's been banged up throughout the entire season. I think that's affecting the way that he's playing the quarterback position. And also, man, the guys like Juju Smith-Schusters and, you know what I'm saying, and you know, Chase Claypool's, like, those guys are good. But they need consistency, man. They need consistency on the offensive side of the ball. Running the football has been an issue for the Pittsburgh Steelers throughout this season. And I just feel like when you're going into the postseason, you got to be able to run the football. And that's going to hurt them going up against the Cleveland Browns, man, because we all know that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they can run the football. And it also helps out Baker Mayfield, you know, when he has to throw the football. When you have two guys that can actually run the football, it helps out with the play action. You know, the defense has to respect the fact that you can run the football. So that's my concerns with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do I think they have enough firepower offensively to get the job done? Yes, but it comes and it goes sometimes. And if you can't throw the football and you can't run the football, then, you know, that's an issue. And I think that's something that has been plaguing them. You know, I think that they can beat the Cleveland Browns, but it's going to take them having to run the football. James Conner going to have to step it up, man. They're going to have to use James Conner, and Like I said, I really feel like Big Ben is hurt. I think they kind of disclosing his injuries because ever since that Dallas Cowboy game, he hasn't been the same. That's what I feel about him. But I do think that they can beat the Cleveland Browns because of the defense. But they're gonna have to score some points, man. And Juju gonna have to step up. You know, him and Chase Claypool is a different beast when you're in the playoffs, man. Chase Claypool has been playing outstanding. You know, he's been a very great asset to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I mean, when you're in that playoffs, man, that's a different beast. So yeah, man. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, you know, that may check out the State of the Saints podcast, may be fans of different teams. Feel free to, you know, put your team and, you know, ask me about them, man. I'm pretty well rounded when it comes to the NFL. Azalone is a concern. He looked lost in coverage versus the Panthers. That can't happen on Sunday. Yeah, man. And also what bothered me, Cries, is when he had a straight shot. I don't know if that was Bridgewater or Walker who was in the game at the time, but he had a straight shot. And he ended up missing, and I think Carl Granderson ended up getting the sack. That was concerning. Like when you had a beeline to the quarterback and you couldn't get the sack. I mean, I don't know, but when it comes to like run support, and he's really good at that. He's a solid tackler, man. But just when you're coming off the blitz, that kind of concerns me. But I don't think the Saints really ask him to come off the blitz as much, you know. So he's mostly like just to help out in the running game. But I am impressed about what I seen out of Zach Bond. I seen Zach Bond in the game a couple of times, covering tight ends, and he did okay. So I'm pretty sure the Saints are going to try to use him. And I mean, he's not a rookie anymore. I mean, once you get out of the regular season, you're no longer a rookie. So it's time to step the game up, man. It's time to step your game up. TJ, our pass defense is very good. Tied the league in interceptions with 59% completion against offense against the pass. My guy, very impressive. Yeah, Donald, I mean, that is impressive, but can you bring that type of performance into the postseason? I mean, this is a brand new season right now. You got to be playing your best football. You got to be attentive. You got to be doing those little extra things going into the postseason. So if they can, you know, take these statistics and apply it to the playoffs, I think we should be okay. Mike McKenzie, my guy, Randall Gay, Bobby McCray. Yeah, man, all those guys. You know, Mike McKenzie, I mean, he had a really good, solid career in Green Bay. Randall Gay, I mean, out there with the Patriots, and Bobby McCray was a guy, you know, came out of Florida, was a guy, you know, that was part of their rotation, mostly was used on third down in NASCAR packages. And we all remember that big hit that he put on Kurt Warner. Man, that was a huge hit when they intercepted the ball, man, and he almost took out Kurt Warner. I mean, that was a huge hit. Cedric Ellis. Yeah, Cedric Ellis was a first-round pick coming out of USC. To me, never lived up to the expectations, you know, but he was okay defensive tackle. I mean, it came and it went. You know, he was a guy who a lot of people, you know, thought would end up being a really good, solid defensive tackle, but didn't really pan out. Average player at best. Eric says we got to dominate in Green Bay because that's what most likely going to happen. Saints playing away. Well, we got to get past the Chicago Bears, but I understand what you're saying. They're going to have to be some scenarios for the Saints to end up playing. First off, the Green Bay Packers got to win their game. I just think that's just not a foregone conclusion. And I keep telling people, you know, there's a strong possibility the NFC Championship game can still be in New Orleans if the Saints handle their business and the Green Bay Packers slip up. So, man, a lot of things got to happen for these two teams to meet up with each other. So if both of these teams handle their business, it should happen, and may the best team win. Reggie Bush and Mike Bell. Yeah, you know, Reggie Bush, to me, I like Reggie, but Reggie Bush didn't live up to the expectations of what we thought he would be. I mean, he was a good spark. I always say that Reggie Bush was a spark. Like he was I don't want to say the cornerstone because Drew Brees was the cornerstone, but he was an assistant cornerstone when it came to like turning his team around and basically taking his organization and then flipping it upside down. You know, he was the spark, you know, that started the whole thing, that gave us the promise that, you know, those years of mediocrity and just downright, you know, I would have to say straight hot garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like they made us believe that those days were over. So I will give Reggie Bush his credit in that regard. But when it came to like, you know, him coming out of college, him coming out of USC and came out with all of that, I mean, it just came out of there with all that hype. And I know everybody just thought that he was just going to be the second coming of Gale Sayers or Barry Sanders, but he wasn't that guy. I mean, but I got a lot of respect for Reggie. And as far as Mike Bell, I mean, he was more like a Marion Barber type guy, you know, a battering ram, big physical guy, you know, wasn't going to wow you with his elusiveness, but he was a one-cut guy. And if he run into you, look out. Zach Strief, aka Chevy Chase. Man, you will not talk about Zach Strief on this show like that, man. Zach Strief is my friend. Okay, shouts out to Zach Strief. Zach Strief watches this show, okay? And I got a lot of respect for Zach Strief, and you know, good solid guy, man. So yeah, but the Zach Strief, who I feel like is the best right tackle. You know, I won't say, well, I will say this: he the best right tackle the Saints ever had until Ryan Ramczyk plays about 4 or 5 more years. And I'm sorry, Zach, I think you know it. Okay, this guy's special. This guy's special, all right. But Zach Strief, that's my guy. Jari Evans. Yeah, Jari Evans. Another guy that been on the State of the Saints podcast, man. A good, solid guy. Yeah, man. The Saints had some good offensive linemen. Jonathan Goodwin, Jahmai Bushrod. I can say, for the exception of what? That Super Bowl offensive line, I think Jonathan Goodwin is like the only one that wasn't on this show. I think I'd have had every offensive lineman that was a part of that Super Bowl offensive line, for the exception. I mean, the only person is Jonathan Goodwin. Everybody else has been on this show. Everybody been on the show that part of that offensive line. Chris McAllister, he played in that New England Patriot game and the Washington Redskins. He did good for us. Yeah, Chris McAllister was okay. Yeah, he was okay. Darren Sharper, I know the situation, but dude should be a Hall of Famer. Yeah, and he would be a Hall of Famer if he wasn't in prison right now, of course. You know, I mean, but that's what happens. You know, that's what happens. Like when you do stuff like that, hey man, you can't get congratulated for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, your legacy is tainted. I mean, I think about this. Y'all know I'm a wrestling fan. I think about one of my favorite wrestlers at the time was Chris Benoit, right? Chris Benoit, great technical wrestler, man, one of all-time greats, right? When you think about classic matches, you have to put his name in there somewhere. But, man, you can't get awarded for, you know, doing stuff like killing your wife and son, right? And you can't get no credit for, you know, I mean, putting, you know what I'm saying, drugging women, you know, which I ain't understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be honest with this. Like, the dude was a good-looking guy, which I didn't understand. Like, you would think that this dude don't have no problem getting no woman. Why would you have to? I don't know, man. That's what the whole twisted thing about it. I would think that Darren Sharper, being a nice looking guy, shouldn't have no issue with trying to get women. I just didn't understand that. But I don't know, man. People have issues and personal demons that they deal with. But he definitely drew dirt on his legacy, man. And he'll never make the Hall of Fame. I would be highly surprised if that happened, which in this world today, nah, he'll never make the Hall of Fame. Cross says, TJ, I see Nick Easton is in concussion protocol again. He may be done for the season. I think his career may be over. You know, when you start getting those multiple concussions like that, it's time to hang it up, man. It's time to hang it up. And honestly, I don't want to see Nick Easton anymore. Like, I'm talking about from a health standpoint. I don't, as good as he is and as solid as he is as a guard, I don't want to see Nick Easton anymore this season. Because now, you know, you got to start thinking about the person. Nick Easton, the person. Nick Easton, the person, is married, has kids, and, you know, you have to have a life outside of football. So as much as I like his production on the field, I'm more concerned about him as a person. So I don't want to see Nick Easton anymore this season. That's enough. It is what it is. It's time for us to win it all for Drew. This is it. Everyone needs to lay everything on the line, man. We have no excuses. Nope, no excuses, Mr. Long. Not at all, man. Thank you so much for the comment. No more excuses. I mean, you got depth at every position. You about as, deep as deep can get. It's time to make that run. And, it's look, as a fan, I would want to see Drew Brees walk, just walk away, and be a champion. But do it for yourself, man. Do it for yourself. You work hard, you dedicate yourself. I mean, you training and you doing everything that you can to try to be the best at your position. Do it for yourself. Robert Meacham. Yeah, Robert Meacham, man, aka Mr. Child Support. Yeah, but Robert Meacham, yeah, man, he was he was definitely one of the best blocking wide receivers the Saints ever had, and we all know that he can get down that field too. Marcus Colston, yeah, a legend, Saints legend, Marcus Colston. Word was he ain't had no long gun. I don't know about what's going on with that, but all I know is dude is I don't understand why the dude would do something like that. Willie Roaf was the best old lineman. Yeah, I mean, you had to say that he in the Hall of Fame. He the only Saints offensive lineman to be in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, that's true. Who that everyone? What's going on with that salt and freshwater fishing geeks? That has to be some type of business. Salt and freshwater fishing geeks. That got to be a business. Baum and Gilded Radio show. Riad, Tracy Porter, and Colston. Yeah, those are some Saints legend. I mean, Tracy Porter. Look, I don't think he'll ever have to pay a tab in the city of New Orleans after what he did. And we know the pick six and Marcus Colston too, man. I think he teaching at UNO right now, so shouts out to him. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, man, missed them both. Yeah, man, both really good wrestlers. Eddie Guerrero. Speaking of which, on my podcast, TJ Knows Wrestling Podcast, going to be the focal point this week. I'm going to be breaking down Eddie Guerrero, his career, and what I think about him. He's definitely my favorite wrestler of all time, hands down. And Chris Benoit, man, look, I know what he did was horrible, but I'm talking about him as a wrestler. Was one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. So it's unfortunate, man, but I think once Eddie Guerrero, who was his best friend, once Eddie Guerrero died, a part of him died, and I just think that he just went off the deep end. I often wonder, like, if Eddie would have stayed alive, would Chris Benoit still be alive? I would think that he would be, because I would think that Eddie would know exactly what to say to him. Sad stuff, man. I work at Zach Place, Port Orleans Brewery, and Zach told me himself the Saints were good without him. That's why he retired. Facts. Well, look, Zach Streif, I think he's the Saints' good luck charm, because ever since he retired, the Saints have been a playoff contender. Okay, so since he's been a play-by-play, look, that's crazy though, right? I bet Jim Henderson is like, man, look, because I think when Jim Henderson, when Jim Henderson retired, right, Zach Streif took over for him, and the Saints have been like one of the best teams in the league since Zach Streif been calling play-by-play on the radio at WWL. So I think the secret in the success of the Saints over the last couple of years has been Zach Streif calling a game. So Zach, keep on calling them games, man, because seems like you the good luck charm. Man. No disrespect to Jim Henderson or Hoagie Gajan, may he rest in peace, but those guys, man, God bless them, man. The trash that they had to call from week to week. No disrespect to those teams, but they know they weren't that good, but those guys were holding it down, man. Jim Henderson, who plays a huge role in my career path, becoming a radio personality, doing sports, and Hoagie Gajan, man, for those that live in New Orleans, man, or listen to WWL, man, y'all know how Hoagie was, man. Hoagie loved his team. He was always just so excited, man. And we lost a great one, great color commentator for WWL. Davenport should be wearing Trey. Should be where Trey is, man. Totally underwhelming. Yeah, he's taking huge steps back. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if he hurt. feelings hurt, ego hurt. I don't know what's going on with him, but all I know is, man, the dude right now should think about another career path. Instead of playing football, the guy should be a figure skater because the way this dude be slipping and sliding all across the field, my goodness, man, I don't know if this dude got on cleats or rollerblades. I don't know what the heck is going on with this dude, but taking steps back, guys running to his side, no respect for him, no type of containment. I don't know. Like that used to be like his strong suit. Like for him to be a good run stopper, like he was a better run stopper. He was like, okay, he can stop the run. Maybe him getting pressure on the quarterback that'll come. I can live with that. I can live with guys stopping a run and working on a technique to get to the quarterback. I can get down with that. But when you can't get no sack, you ain't stopping a run. Like, what good are you? I like Marcus Davenport. Like, I believe in him. But if you can't stop the run, can't get to the quarterback, why are you a defensive end? Why are you on the field? I don't know. But I'm not surprised about Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson, the only reason why he slid down the draft board is because he had some issues in college. That's the only reason. The Saints were fortunate to get that guy. If that guy did everything right, if he was a model citizen in college and he had no issues, we wouldn't even know who Trey Hendrickson is. Like, seriously. We'll know who he is, but we'll just know he plays for another team. He definitely has first round, second round talent coming out of college, but he got in a little trouble. Then you go to Florida Atlantic. I guess teams like, go to a small school, a little bit of trouble. Not my hill to down. Gary says the Saints will win the Super Bowl. There is no doubt in my mind they were going to take it one game, and it takes it all and take it all away. Well, I don't know, man. Look, one game at a time. I'm hoping that you're right, though. Chanel says PJ Williams looks so much better at safety, played well against the Panthers. Yeah, and like I said, that's his primary position. When guys are not that fast, good tacklers, I mean, and they can cover a little bit, why not make him a safety? I mean, that's what they did with Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins coming out of Ohio State was a cornerback. His first year with the Saints, he was a cornerback. And the Saints realized that he can be more productive at safety because of, he wasn't as fast, but he's a good tackler. And, he had some, had a little speed on him, but not that fast. So, yeah. Hey, TJ, people sleep on the Miz, awesome wrestler. I think Miz is an awesome overall superstar. I don't know about no awesome wrestler. I think where he is in WWE from the entertainment standpoint, the way that he wrestles is picture perfect for WWE. If he goes anywhere else outside of WWE, I don't think he'll be as successful as a wrestler because the way that people wrestle outside of WWE is completely different. Like if he was to go somewhere like All Elite Wrestling, AEW, Ring of Honor, or New Japan, I think he wouldn't be able to hang with those guys. I mean, the way that he is in WWE, I mean, he's a tailor-made WWE wrestler. Some guys are just tailor-made, guys, the way that they wrestle, the way they perform is WWE tailor-made. For the Saints, it's the blonde hair. Well, I mean, blind, brunette, I don't care what color your hair is. Your hair can be green, all I care. As long as you get into the quarterback, I can care less. I'm going to read a few more of them and get up out of here, folks. Trey Hendrickson is a big boost to our defensive line. That's the understatement of a lifetime. That guy is great, man. He has been a great asset to this team. I feel a big game coming for Chauncey. He had big games against the Bears during his career so far. Well, I mean, he definitely got into the head of Wims. I can tell you that. Figure skater. Yeah, definitely, man. That's what he's doing right now. Slipping and sliding, man. That's all he's doing all across the field, slipping and sliding. I'm like, dude, stay on your feet. Like, I don't understand. Like, how can you, I don't know, how you be that big, bro? Like, what is something wrong with your cleats? Like, do you have spikes underneath them? Like, this guy just be sliding all over the field. My goodness. Like, why are you sliding, dude? Like, what are you doing? They're always sliding across the field. Like, what's going on here? Jules says, what's your opinion on the AFC playoffs? Well, my opinion on AFC playoffs, I think that the Buffalo Bills look really, really good defensively. Offensively, they look good, man. They put a whooping on the Miami Dolphins. And, I always say, man, when teams suck for years, no disrespect, but it's two things that's going to happen. It is rather, well, I put it like this. If your team stinks and you have a good personnel team, right? It's only a matter of time before you start to get good. I think about when Ken Wisenhunt was the head coach at Arizona Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals, like, they kept on drafting guys, getting all these different good players and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Getting people like Calais Campbell and getting, getting all people like Patrick Peterson wasn't there yet. But just getting people like Rose, Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. It's like only a matter of time before those guys start to get good. And I feel the same way when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, right? You got Josh Allen and, then you get yourself, Singletary, the running back. And then you get, then you get Diggs and Cole Beasley and, get yourself some good defensive players. And, getting some guys on a free agent market, combine them with people like Tre'Davious White. Like, it's only a matter of time before you start to get good. I think that the Buffalo Bills are a really good, solid team. I'm still, I guess, like last year versus the Texans, kind of, was a little bit of a, growing up, moment for Josh Allen, dueling with Deshaun Jackson in that wild card game. He made a few mistakes. Seems like he's a more polished and solid quarterback, more sure of himself. So I would put them right there next to the Kansas City Chiefs because I feel like they'll be able to compete with them defensively. And Josh Allen is no slouch when it comes to throwing the football. I think that the Baltimore Ravens, look, I got to see Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, all right? Because he looks like a completely different quarterback in the playoffs. They went 14-2 last year. It seemed like when they got to the divisional round, like he forgot how to play football. The Tennessee Titans, too anemic, too up and down for me. They go out there, they look like world beaters one week. Next week, they look like they don't know how to play. If Derrick Henry ain't running the football, you stopping him or neutralizing him a tad bit. Don't seem like, they know what to do. Ryan Tannehill can't lead your team. He basically feeds off of Derrick Henry, rather it come from, them doing a read option with him or him doing a play action, getting other guys open. They got some talent at A.J. Brown and, Davis, Corey Davis. I think they got a good wide receiver corps. But they too up and down for me. Let me see who else is in the playoffs in the AFC. The Cleveland Browns, they got a good running game. I think that the play action, with Baker Mayfield can be helpful. I think they got a lot of young. That's the only thing that bothers me about Cleveland. They got good defensive talent, but they're young. They need to be battle tested. The Pittsburgh Steelers, their offense is very alarming to me. I don't know if they'll be able to weather the storm or consistently play offense enough for when they go up against teams like the Chiefs, go up against teams like Buffalo. Will they be able to go toe-to-toe with teams like that? I don't know. So, yeah, those are the teams, man, that I just look at. I think that Baltimore, if Lamar Jackson plays better, I think they'll be able to do something. But, it's hard for me to look past, like, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Those are the two teams I feel like are going to end up on a collision course against each other, because I just think that the Buffalo Bills are a pretty deep team. They're really good defensively. And we all know that, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, man. What can you say? It's a good football team right there. So, wish that were the case for the Jets. Well, look, the Jets, first off, man, the Jets, they got to stop being so desperate. Okay, the Jets are like a really desperate football team. And it just seems like their ownership just don't really take the time to do their due diligence to try to find good GMs, good head coaches, like good personnel Like, it just seemed like to me like they so desperate. Like, what did Adam Gase teach you? You know, from his time in Miami, like you had 2 opportunities per year to see what Adam Gase had before you hired him. Like, what was the point of that? Like, nobody wanted to come to you. Like, nobody was checking for you. Like, what's going on? Like, I feel like the Jets just like the Jets remind me of like that mom and pop store that just needs somebody to run the cash register, right? And it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? We really need somebody to run this cash register. Well, let's look at the applications. Well, all we got is one application. Hire them. Like, you don't know if this person's a thief. You don't know if this person's about to run out the back door with all your stuff. That's what the Jets remind me of. Like, they're so desperate. Like, take the time to try to put the right pieces in place. Rather it takes a couple weeks, rather it take a couple months. You know, like maybe it'll take a little bit longer than other teams. But please, like, do your due diligence. Like, all of the trash, like the New York Jets fans deserve better. It's like certain teams that you just root for that you want to see get better. Like, I can root for the Buffalo Bills because, I mean, they fans. I mean, they putting each other through tables, for God's sake. Like, you got to be pretty heartbroken, depressed to put your own self through a table. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at the Cleveland Brown fans, like, a part of you was like so happy, like when Baker Mayfield got that first down. Like, you root for these type of people, right? When the Jets were in the AFC Championship game back in 2009, like, you had to be happy. You had to be happy for this team. And it's sad when you got the people in New York City who root for the Jets, when you got the firefighter out there leading a chant, and you know for a fact they about to go 3-13, it just makes you die a little bit inside. They deserve better. So take the time out to find a good personnel team, find the right head coach that can bring a completely different culture. Like, I think we all as Saints fans, we can kind of understand this. I mean, the Saints culture stunk. Like, some of you probably only remember prosperity when it comes to the Saints, because I know we got a lot of young viewers. I'm not saying people jumping on a bandwagon back in 06, but we got a lot of young viewers that probably only understood when the Saints were successful and only had Drew Brees. But we didn't have some hot garbage come through this organization, man. And this was some dark days. So I can kind of understand Jets fans. But look, man, they deserve better. Just take the time out to try to find the right fit. Find the right fit. Now, that's all I'm saying. Find the right fit. That's what I am worried about the Bills. Yeah, the Bills are a good football team, man. Good football team. Mahomes won't allow that. Do you think the Jets draft a quarterback? I don't think they need one. Well, let me just say this. You got Sam Darnold. I know it's the State of Saints podcast, but it's playoff time, folks. Anything goes. Look, you got Sam Darnold. You drafted him early in the draft. I don't feel like he got a fair shake. Adam Gase was not the answer. Get yourself an offensive-minded coach that's young and innovative, or old and innovative, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or a coach that can get the right offensive coordinator to develop this guy. I understand it's New York and people don't have they don't let things marinate, right? It's rather it works or get it the heck up out of here. You got to have patience, right? So get the right head coach. If he's an offensive-minded coach, he'll be able to develop Sam Darnold. Get yourself a running game. Get yourself an offensive lineman. I mean, they got some draft picks. So take the time. You already got yourself a quarterback in place. You got yourself a young quarterback. Okay, it's not like he in his late 20s, early 30s. He's a young quarterback. Get yourself an offensive-minded coach that can teach him and that he can learn under. Get yourself a running game where he ain't got to be throwing the football all over the place, and you don't have to worry about all those interceptions that he's throwing. And get yourself a defense, you know what I'm saying, that can be able to help him out. You got all this cap room. You got all these draft picks. Find yourself a good, solid coach that can work alongside the GM to put the right pieces in place. You know, that's what, like I said, it's just pure desperation going on in New York, right? Pure desperation, right? Like, take your time, really do your due diligence and find the right guy. Because once you find that right coach, It don't matter, because he'll be able to put those pieces in place. And when you have like different issues when it comes to the salary cap, or it comes to like maybe trading some draft picks, he'll know how to maneuver in order to put that person and that team in place in order for them to be a contender, because the AFC East is wide open right now. You don't have to worry about the New England Patriots dominating your division anymore. You don't have to really too much worry about who is going to, like the Patriots winning every single year, Tom Brady. So the division is wide open once again. I mean, the Patriots are going through a transition phase right now. So this is your opportunity to get back to legitimacy during the time when Parcells was there. Like during the time when Rex Ryan was there. Take your time. Find the right coach. I can see the Buffalo Bills going all the way. Josh Allen is playing with so much confidence, and they have the personnel on both sides of the ball to compete with the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, Mike, look, the only thing that was really missing was a wide receiver. And now that they got Stephon Diggs, a guy that can run good routes, a guy that's has really good hands, they tried to do something, when they tried to get Kelvin Benjamin, but Kelvin Benjamin basically ate his way out of the league. You got John Brown, who's a speedy guy. You got him from Arizona. He's a guy that can take the top off the defense. Cole Beasley, he's been dealing with injuries, but he's a good, solid slot receiver. So you got all of this different talent on this team, man. Not to mention you got Singletary as the running back. I mean, so he has all these different offensive weapons that can help him. And you also have a good defense, and that's Sean McDermott's calling card, which I feel like that's one of the main reasons why the Carolina Panthers have been stinking it up for the last couple of years. I mean, Ron Rivera was a good coach, but Sean McDermott was the guy who had that defense playing at a high level. He had Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly and Coleman and all these other guys out there playing really well. He was the one that got Josh Norman paid when he went to Washington. He was the mastermind. There are guys that be behind the scenes that we don't pay that much attention to because maybe that coach or that personnel guy is the focal point. But Sean McDermott was very underrated. And the Buffalo Bills definitely knew what they were doing when they got him as the head coach. So Titans have a similar team, not exactly like the Saints. Look, not exactly if we're talking about the Buffalo Bills, okay? The Tennessee Titans are a really good running team. They got a really good offensive line, which I feel is very underrated. Derrick Henry, you got to go back to maybe like the mid-90s where you have a running back. I don't want to say that. No, I take that back. You have to think about Minnesota with Adrian Peterson. Like when a running back is the focal point of the offense, right? If you have yourself a quarterback that can, do the play action, get the ball down the field, do those 2 and 3. I mean, do those 3 and 5 step drops, you'll be okay. But Buffalo is like, Josh Allen has developed tremendously between last year and this year. It's like night and day. It's like night and day watching this guy play. Like night and day. Buffalo Bills are going to be good for the next 10 years. They have their quarterback, John Brown, Cole Beasley, and Stephon Diggs. Yep. They definitely had it. They definitely have all that. Man, we started talking about other teams. I was like, man, I said I was about to go. And then somebody started talking about the Jets. But like I said, man, I just watch teams like the Jets, the Bills. Like the AFC East is wide open. Like New England no longer has a stranglehold on that division. I think Josh Allen deserves MVP more than Aaron Rodgers. I disagree with that, Emerson, because Josh Allen started the season off red hot. Then he kind of sputtered a tad bit. But Aaron Rodgers has been consistent throughout the entire season. I mean, when you have about 40 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions or something like that, like you got to get a guy's credit. I know we can't stand the media talking about him, but he deserves MVP, man. He deserves MVP. All right. But he can get all the MVPs he wants. Like as long as the New Orleans Saints win the Super Bowl and whoever be Super Bowl MVP. I don't care who it is. It can be Kamara, it can be Drew, it can be Mike Thomas. I don't care. long as the Saints in that number. Let them have regular season MVP. I'm more concerned about who will be the Saints Super Bowl MVP. That's what I'm concerned about. J-Rock says, I'm still, if Diggs is worth a first-round pick to the Bills, then the Texans could have gotten 2 first rounds for DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, that was stupid, J-Rock. But I never been high on Bill O'Brien in the first place. And, that was stupid on the Houston Texans part because not only did this guy give you mediocrity as a head coach, now you fired him and they didn't make the playoffs. At least he had them in the playoffs. But anyway, you had them in the playoffs. They can never get over the hump. You had a choice. You can continuously deal with mediocrity, or you can try to take that extra step to try to make your team better. They decided to, get rid of them, which I really thought that was a good idea. But Bill O'Brien had these guys mediocre. You double down. And not only do you keep him as your head coach, but you give him the general manager position. So you basically applauded and awarded mediocrity. And then he gets rid of his best player. And you basically traded him for peanuts. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know, man. But that move set that team back for years. DeAndre Hopkins is a generational type talent when it comes to, him playing receiver. That was a huge step back. What's happening, TJ? I'm over on Twitter. Give us a shout out. Who that nation forever? Who that? Dwayne, yeah, man. What's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by, man. I think I ain't hear from you in a while, man. I hope everything going okay. Rudy says, do you think Trey Hendrickson will resign with the Saints? Probably not. Look, he deserves his money. I don't know if the Saints are going to be willing or able to pay him. They got bigger fish to fry. You know what I'm saying? They got bigger fish to fry. Now, if it came down to if we want to keep Davenport or Trey Hendrickson, man, bye Davenport. But when you got to pay people like Ryan Ramczyk, when you got to pay people like Lattimore, when you got to pay people like possibly Marcus Williams, you try to keep those guys, man. I understand pass rush and all that kind of stuff, which wouldn't surprise me if they did. Would not surprise me if they kept him because, you need a guy that can get to the quarterback. You need a guy like that. So I'm 50-50 when it comes to that. Your brother-in-law, Team TJ, just tell him he has my deepest sympathy. Yeah. Yeah. Man, shouts out to Rick, man. Shouts out to Ricky, man. Yeah, that's definitely Ricky team, man. Shouts out to him. But hey, man, the fact that he told me that and he was look, Ricky loves Alabama and he loves the Jets. All right. So the fact that he can say that he a Jets fan after all this, that man earned my respect, for real. He had my respect before, man. I love my brother-in-law, but he just earned even more respect from me for him to say that. I'm a new subscriber, by the way. Jared, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that, man. And shouts out to, if you're out there in New York, man, I see you got the Yankees logo. So, yeah, shouts out to you, man, out there in New York fan. Go say OG all the way. Mississippi boys, Gulfport, Mississippi, man. Shouts out to Gulfport. My mom, she stays out there in Vicksburg. I went to Jackson State. So Hendrickson, going, fam. He'll get paid by a team with big cap space. Yeah, might be the Jets. Might be the Jets, man. You never know. Might end up playing for the Jets. That might be it. You know what I'm saying? You put him next to Quentin Williams. Man, now you got something. Man. But you don't see my comments. Kyron, I didn't see your comments, man. Maybe you say you just subbed. Appreciate that, Kyron. Appreciate that, man. Sorry, the screen going by pretty fast. And I'm also trying to catch up, man, because sometimes I have conversations and I want to be, go back too far, and then we end up having to answer questions with that. But Kyron, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. What's up, TJJ? What's going on? Chemo says Ghostface and OG. Shalonda, man. What's going on, Shalonda? Shouts out Jackson State in the building. I know she's a Chicago Bears fan. She's from Chicago, so we ain't gonna hold that against us. You know what I'm saying? That's all love right there. Me and Shalonda go back to sitting on the plaza, man. Sitting at the Gills Green Plaza, man. Sitting on the benches outside the plot over by Iota Phi Theta plot, right in front of Stewart Hall, man. We go back, man, way back. 2:00 in the morning, out there just talking. Like we ain't got class in the morning. Shouts out to Shalonda, man. Kyra says Redskins gonna get y'all if they beat Tampa Bay. Kyra, I don't know about all that. Look, I got respect for the football team. I got respect for the football team. They got a good defense. Got love for Ron Rivera, everything that he's going through. But bro, they need an offense, man. And Alex Smith, God bless him. Definitely gonna win comeback player of the year. As soon as he hit the field, he won that award. But they need an offense, man. Like that's the only thing that bothered me. Like Chase Young is the truth. Montez Sweat, man, they got some talent out there. Like Jared, you know what I'm saying? Like what is it, Jerry Allen? You know what I'm saying? Like they got talent on that team. Offense just concerns me. Like if they got the talent to go far next year. Like when you have like people like Gandy Golden, like I mentioned earlier on the show, get yourself a more credible running back. I don't know if you want to try to get somebody like Leonard Fournette, which I feel like Leonard Fournette would probably be a good pick for y'all. Leonard Fournette is saving himself, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Leonard Fournette is saving himself for next year. Like I just feel like he kind of just phoned this season in. You get yourself like a big back, you know what I'm saying? A guy that probably can also catch the ball out of backfield player, you know what I'm saying? And get yourself some offensive weapons, maybe a younger quarterback, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like have Alex Smith as your backup, not as your starter. I think that's when you'll probably see the best out of the football team. And also get a real name, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, get a real name, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just be called the Washington football team, you know what I'm saying? Get a real legit name, then you'll be straight, man. You know what I'm saying? New quarterback, new name, new offensive weapons, you'll be all right. Making the playoffs. Salute to Alex Smith. Yeah, definitely, man. Alex Smith, my hero. Definitely my hero. Curry as guard. What we talking about? You talking about Steph Curry? Yeah, man. We talking about Steph Curry. That boy, true, man. 62 points the other night. You reminiscing a little too hard, TJ. Hey, man, look. I love Jackson State, man. That was the best time of my life. You know, sitting in a dorm room, free HBO. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. You can't get no better than that. No problem. You know, like, you know, all you had to do was walk to the student union, get fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the student union, you know, get a bag of chips, some hot fries, mix them with some white cheddar, smart food, popcorn. That was the time right there, you know? Like, shouts out to my boy, Chris Smitty. You know what I'm saying? Used to go to Cash Dining. You know what I'm saying? Give me, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even have to worry about paying. You know what I'm saying? Used to be in a bag, slide a brother a couple hot wings. That was some good times right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, you can't get those times back for nothing, man. Those are some moments that are gonna always live in you. If you went to college or high school, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, those moments that always live with you. No doubt about that. Shalonda say they've been playing better since they became the Washington football team. Yeah, and a new coach. I mean, it definitely helps when your head coach is not, you know, leaning on the side of the building coming off a drunk stupor. You know what I'm saying? That definitely helped, right? You know what I'm saying? When your head coach up there trying to holler at young girls instead of him being in the film room trying to get you ready for the Cowboys, that definitely helped, right? You know, like Kyra said, no way we got LeBron as wide receiver. We just signed him. The grill, Tiger Bucks, exactly. I mean, look, you can actually go to the urban store with your Jackson State University card and buy a pair of J's. Where you can do that at? Now, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go to the store You can go to the mall with your school ID, and you have something called a super card, right? So you can put about $500, and then I think it went up to $1,000. So you can get about $1,000. You can put this on your card, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you're not like when you get a scholarship, or you know what I'm saying, like, or you get like financial aid, you get a refund, right? So sometimes it takes those refunds a month and a half to come. So what you can do is you can transfer some of your refund money onto your super card, and then you can go to the mall, and then you can go get some clothes, you can get something to eat. Those were the times right there. Now, some, like, you probably went to Southern or Grambling, they probably had like the same type of thing, all coin, I think. Yeah, what they call the gold card. But those were some times right there, man. That was some good time. We talking about everything on this show. You awesome, dude, TJ. I wanted to end the show 30 minutes ago and still giving us the, yeah, hey, man, look. When you start talking about different things, man, it's kind of hard to end the show. But I know we didn't talked about different things, but like I said, it's playoff time, man. You know, we talk about the Saints. We'll get into that later on in the week. We'll talk about Chicago. We'll break down those X's and O's. But I just think it's definitely right if we talk about these other teams in the playoffs too. And we'll fly for free lines on Thursday. Yep, free on Thursday night. Free lines, man, it's taking me back. Man, Free Lines, the only club you can go to where you can see the mayor of your own city out there in the club, hollering at young girls. Shouts out to the late Frank Milton, man. Frank Milton out there in the club, the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, out there at the club, 2:00 in the morning, talking to young girls, man. Only in Jackson. You really awesome, TJ. You want already read that. TJ Jones, the MVP. I appreciate that. Jared says the AFC shouldn't sleep on the Bills. They definitely shouldn't do that, man. Shouts out to everybody in Western New York, by the way. The Untouchable OG loves you all so much. Who that? Yeah, man, we got to end the show, man. We didn't talk about everything. We didn't talk about the AFC, the NFC, the Saints. You know, we talking about free lines. We talking about super card. We talking about Frank Milton. Even Frank Milton, the Mayor Jackson, that made his way to the State of the Saints podcast. I can't agree about cold weather after I saw what happened to the Titans in Green Bay. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, the Titans is a different team. Titans will blow a team out one week and then lose by 30 the next. I mean, I don't know, man. They just too up and down for me. Boy, you come a long way. The Bills are pretty scary. Kim says, I'm from New Orleans, but moved to Jackson after Katrina. It's Frank Milton for me. Frank Milton, man, tried to take down the trap house with a hammer. This is no lie. This man, like, Frank Milton said he was going to take down the trap house. And for those that don't know what the trap house means, that means the drug house. He went out there with a hammer that he got from a hardware store, talking about he about to take down the trap house. That man was undefeated, man. That man was undefeated. Rest in peace to Frank Milton, though, man. He died maybe, I say about almost a decade ago. But, man, he gave us some funny moments, man. He gave us some funny moments. I'll never forget at the football game when he was at the football game, at the Jackson State game, and everybody was like, the PA announcer was like, we have a special guest in the building. I want everybody to give him a round of applause to Jackson's mayor, Mr. Frank Milton. Everybody in unison just went, boo. I was like, man, why they gonna do that man like that, man? Man, that's what Frank Milton did for a whole, like, y'all voted for him. You know what I'm saying? If he the mayor, then some of y'all in there, y'all voted for him, so why y'all booing him? I don't know. Anyway, Manny Pacquiao playing tonight. Manny Pacquiao, the boxer? What, he playing basketball? I know he played basketball overseas. I know he have his own team. Okay, man, we're going to end it with this. Dwayne says, TJ, I'm on 3 broadcasts at the same time, bro. Twitter, YouTube, and now Facebook. Who that, baby? Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And y'all can check me out, man, on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at State of Saints. Shouts out to my boy RP3, the host of RP3 and Company on 103.7 The Game. I was a guest on his morning show yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and put that footage out, man. It's a 12-minute interview that I did with him talking about the Saints. And, man, I'm just enjoying this, man. This is some great stuff right here. Who would have thought that me being angry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Saints with Ryan Fitzpatrick, which doesn't sound too bad, by the way. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a bad quarterback. But anyway, who would have thought that this would have turned into a show that has over 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, 17,000 followers on Facebook, almost at 1 million views all time, and be able to talk to some of the best people, like and some of the most famous and well-known people in the New Orleans Saints organization, and also getting other opportunities to talk on other podcasts. Man, all I can say is, man, God is good. God is good. Like, anybody that has a dream, I'm telling you, like, before we get out of here, just follow your dreams. Like, follow your dreams. It might take longer than you anticipate. It might take years. I can just think about going to broadcasting school back in 2011. I remember sitting in a closet, and recording on my cell phone just so I won't have any background noise. And God has blessed me to live my dreams. And like I said, man, all it takes is a made-up mind and determination. That's all it takes, man. So I want everybody to follow their dreams today. And people are not going to understand you. I could just think about people telling me, oh, man, I used to just do different podcasts. People start talking about, well, why you wasting your time? Like, you ain't making no money doing that. Why you know what I'm saying? Like, how much you getting paid? That was the first thing that came out of people's mouth. But look, if you have a dream, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the time invested, because all of that stuff is going to come full circle. And you're going to appreciate every single moment. You're going to appreciate the bad moments. You're going to appreciate those moments where you're going to feel like nobody believes in me. Nobody believes what I'm doing is going to pay off. Whatever you're doing, like I said, rather it's podcasts, rather it's starting your own business, rather it's in relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, believe in what you're doing and put your best foot forward and make up your mind that anything that you are going to touch is going to turn to gold. Always believe every single morning that you wake up that you have the Midas touch on every single thing in your life. And that's the best advice I have for you. We're gonna end on that. But I want to say thank you all very much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, / the State of Jackson, / the State of the AFC, / State of the Playoffs. Thank y'all very much for checking out the podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints Podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, and y'all already know. Follow on Twitter at State of Saints, on Instagram at TJ Jones _ that's TJAY Jones _ Y'all have a great and productive day, and do something with your day, right? Make this day the best day of your life. Till next time, all I got to say is,